automobile.
In this fast-paced modern life, sometimes you just have to live 24/7. All action, non-stop, on the go, with Latin passion. Mas Fuego. Get the fire. Mas Fuego is an entirely new concept in beverage technology. It's a drink that is full of caffeine that keeps you awake and makes you anxious.
Oh, it makes my boyfriend crazy. He's like a Latin bull, even though he's a Chinese. Tears me to pieces.
Now, that's some Latin passion. Mas Fuego. Synthesized Latin testosterone energy drink. Live life to the limit.
No.
Is there something wrong with me? It's my weight, isn't it?
No, you're great. Just the way you are.
Erectile dysfunction is more common than you think, especially due to the fatigue and alcohol abuse that often accompanies taking home a large, needy girl from the bar late at night. That's why there's Mollus. Don't let your penis let you down. Mollus overrides the dignity and disgust that often result from a sexual encounter with a desperate girl. So you can have the confidence and stamina to make an impression that lasts.
Wow, that was incredible. Can I see you tomorrow?
Yeah, listen, could you use the back door so my friends don't see you?
Asshole!
Ask your bartender about Mollus, or order online from any number of disreputable Mexican pharmacists. Mollus is Vesuvius citrate and should be taken with alcohol. Mollus, respect be damned.
When you die, it doesn't have to be the end. Hi, I'm Uzi Fitzsimmons, and I know that you, your animals, even women, have an essence that continues to flow after the death of a body. In ancient Egypt, where they were fascinated with triangles, man-cats, and incest, the mummification process ensured that in 1,000 years, you'll still look great, and your spirit can make love after death. Wow! Now you can too! Preserve your heritage and soul in the next life by getting mummified. Just listen to one of our customers who signed up. I swear I didn't pay him.
Hey, when they bury you, worms beat out your brain. Or they burn the shit out of you. What if I ain't really dead? Even if I'm dead, I don't want that shit. Then I heard about mummification. I'ma get myself some crazy sarcophagus or some shit like that. I'm a pharaoh.
Wow, mummification. Preserve yourself the ancient way.
My whole life, I felt like something was wrong. I thought maybe I was gay or transgender. But having tried both of those, it wasn't that. Then I realized what it was. I hate walking. Now, thanks to the Relax Power X motorized scooter from Ambulate, I haven't walked in 2 years. And I'm much happier. My cup is always half full, and thanks to the cup holder, it never spills. Now I never have to worry about indigestion. I can roll my fat ass to the fridge without ever getting tired.
The Relax Power X motorized scooter from Ambulate comes with special parking permits for your car, so you can begin living a life of luxury. Why worry about health, your weight, or what people think of you? Now, you're faster. Motorized scooters are the future of the American lifestyle. Carefree. That's the Relax Power X from Ambulate. Take the weight off your feet.
Stopping global warming has finally gotten cool. Street style meets environmental concern with this seriously bad, morally good, fully customizable luxury VIP style hybrid sedan. The Karen Dilettante. Expensive, but the earth is worth it. She'll swoon at your low exhaust emissions and maybe let you do a bit of exploring of her exhaust too. If you understand real bling, you can make it run on expensive champagne and fine cigars. Save the planet for only $39,999. The Karen Dilettante. Bad plus good equals better for everyone.
You step on the scale each morning. Another 5 pounds. Ugh, it's a heartbreaking misery that knows no equal. But it's not your fault. You've just given up hope. Now it's time to take back that control with a pill. Take a Lipergix after each meal and you're guaranteed to lose weight. That's because it eradicates and evacuates the elements that cause you to gain weight. Lipergix is not available in pharmacies or drugstores, bogged down by regulations. We give you this one-time only chance to cut out the middleman and the FDA by ordering dangerous and potentially life-threatening chemicals over the web. Visit Lipergix.com today and take back the power.
Hello, hello. I know I've been gone for a while, so gotta get back on the horse. So welcome everyone to Untitled Paranormal Season 3, Podcast 32. I hope you all had a wonderful Thursday. Please, everyone, make yourself at home. And if you have any questions for our special guests, don't be shy because questions are always welcome during the interview. Everyone means so much to me, and y'all are very important to this channel. So I do like to welcome everyone in chat by name. If I haven't greeted you immediately, I promise I will get to you. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notifications when we go live. And lastly, if you like what we're doing, give us a like. So let's get this show on the road and let me introduce our guests. In 2019, longtime best friends Matt and Courtney came together to form Warner Paranormal Explorers. A fan of horror from a young age, Matt began investigating the paranormal in his teens after experiencing some unexplained occurrences. Many years later, he met Courtney, who also had an interest in the paranormal due to experiences she had growing up in her home. The time came to create the perfect team, and that's when Warner Paranormal Explorers were born. There couldn't be a better partnership to chase ghosts with, and they also share a passion for history and architecture. Matt finds the locations and investigates any claims of the paranormal. Courtney does the research and history of them, trying to get to the bottom of why spirits may be there. Just recently, they created Warner Paranormal Preservation Society, a like-minded collective group of individuals that are working to bridge the gap between history and the paranormal at locations by running events to raise funds for ongoing preservations efforts. Together, the society oversees Hearts of Hill Hall in Rockland, Mass. The newest paranormal research center that is open for the field. So let's welcome Matt and Courtney. Wow.
Hello.
I was like a little slow on the draw. Hey there, guys.
Hi. How are you tonight? It's been a while since I've seen you, Kim. How's things?
Oh, Lord. Everybody, yeah, before we came
Put you on the spot. How you like that?
Right. Really? I've only done one live stream. I take the summers off. And so now I'm like, okay, I got to get used to this again. So, yeah. I want to take a quick moment. Hey, Crow, thank you. And Robbie with Erie Expedition Paranormal, welcome, welcome. And we know who Aaron is, or at least I know who Aaron is. Hello, hello. Okay, so we're going to get to know you guys and how y'all think first. So the first thing I have is for Matt. You say you are a big horror fan. Mm-hmm. So what is your favorite horror movie?
The original Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, that's a good one.
Followed extremely closely by the original Halloween.
Yes.
It's like 51-49.
Do you have a favorite horror movie, Courtney?
I'm a huge fan of Jason Voorhees.
I'm trying to get my kid's now a teenager, so I'm getting them all. He's wanting horror movies, and I'm excited because I'm a big horror fan too.
And what is yours? You can't leave us hanging.
I think the one that scared me the most was The Entity.
Okay.
I watched Amityville at a young age with my dad. The Exorcist. That kind of freaked me out a little bit. But my dad was more into the spooky, more haunted stuff. I'm still waiting for somebody to say Blair Witch.
Blair Witch had its purpose, you know what I mean? But it was, at the time, because we didn't have the internet and all that, the hype wasn't ruined and everybody believed it, and it was perfect. That doesn't work anymore.
I didn't like it. I've never seen it.
So you didn't see it. How can you not like it if you've never seen it?
Because I did like the trailer.
It is a little, it is creepy.
It is creepy.
Is it?
Yeah, it is creepy, but it's like one of those movies that like you can't see the evil thing.
Right.
So it's like, it's creepy to like that factor, but there's like nothing like scary.
I think what annoyed me was the fact that cameras are always up in the person's face. They get snot running. I'm like, okay, that's just weird.
Yeah.
Let's see. Crow says Nightmare on Elm Street for him. And Robbie with Eerie Expedition. I was 12 when it came out and it terrified me.
It worked. It did what it needed to do back then, for sure.
Yeah. Crow says the new Hellraiser comes out tomorrow.
I've heard good and bad.
Erin.
Scooby-Doo.
She actually means that. That's the sad thing. The live action Scooby-Doo scared her and she won't watch it still to this day.
Oh my God.
That movie's PG.
I love Scooby-Doo.
So do I.
Who can't like Scooby-Doo?
You found her. Those foreigners, man, I'm telling you.
Shh. You know
Scotland,
my husband's
people.
Dutch. I mean, he moved here. Well, I don't know. I'll have him pop on and talk to you. You'll hear his accent. He always has something to say. So now I want to dive into. You talked about having experiences as a teen, and Courtney has had experiences in her home growing up. So I'm going to let ladies go first and let her tell us what was it that you experienced?
So by the way, sorry for the voice. I'm like getting over this cold that I have.
That's okay.
But when, so in my childhood home where my parents still live, I would be like home alone and I would hear a voice like calling my name. And without even just hesitation, I'd be like, yeah, like thinking it was like my mom. And then I'd remember like, oh yeah, I'm home alone. So then I'd immediately turn all the lights on. My parents like yelled at me every time like I was home alone. They would come home. They'd be like, are you going to pay the electricity bill? Because literally every light would be on. Like that's how bad I was. And then I remember one night I woke up from my dead sleep and I heard 2 footsteps right in my door. And I counted to 3 and I like threw my covers off and I look and literally it's no one. But it was like so blatantly 2 footsteps. My dog, my like childhood dog would be staring at the darkest corner in our dining room. And I just like, it was such an uneasy feeling in that corner. And we never talked about it growing up, but my dad one day did tell me that our dog Montana, she was growling at that corner. And he like turned the lights on and he was like, hey, like what's wrong? Like turn the lights on. And she just like stopped growling and just walked away from it. So that was really interesting to hear that like my dad also had a good experience. My brother has had experience too. We think a bit more of like it was Casper. Like we think she was like an older woman. that was like around, and kind of just made sure that we knew that she was around. But after that, I just was always curious of like why they're still there, and like what was this that was there that I heard, and that my other like my dad and my brother has also seen and heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it something that you were maybe just young and it scared you, or does it still kind of?
I thought that too, because I'm also like I'm a huge skeptic. Like when it comes to that stuff, I always try to find things like I'm the first one to be like, no, it was this. Like I don't want to believe that it's a spirit or a
Right.
ghost. I want to believe that I can explain it. I'm also huge into like psychology, and I know the mind can take over, but no, like this was something that it happened too many times, and like the
Right.
fact that my brother's best friend saw it, my dad had experience. I was like, okay, like I'm not the only one then.
Wow. That's insane. And I can relate with you.
Yeah.
Because it seems like everywhere I moved, there was always something. So I can absolutely relate.
Yeah.
Now for you, Matt, you said you had experiences as a teenager. You want to share with us?
So I've had a whole lot of experiences. When growing up, my grandparents lived next door, and their house was haunted. As an adult now, knowing what I know, I think it was likely my great grandmother because she had passed away in the house. Long before my time, I didn't know her or anything like that. They owned the house prior to my grandparents moving in. So growing up, it was always accepted in my family that ghosts are real. It wasn't
Oh,
one of
wow.
those things that people like, oh, those aren't real. It was just, but like Courtney said, it was Casper.
Right.
And that's what we called the ghost at my Nana's house, was Casper the ghost. I never personally had any experiences in that house, but they told me all kinds of stories and little things that they would have happen. And it kind of kept me on edge because I'd be there by myself once in a great while. And I'm not telling that story, Erin, so go to bed. Because she's here, I'm not telling that story. Hi, Hannah. Welcome to the chat. I've had enough experiences where I can share other ones. One of the earlier experiences that I do recall.
See, I'm intrigued now.
What's that?
See, she shouldn't have said anything because now I'm intrigued.
I can give you the clips. I'll be straight up. I'm so sick of telling that part of my story.
Okay, no problem.
Like you can just Google it. It'll probably come up on 80 different podcasts. Thanks, Erin. Thanks for doing that. You're the best. Anywho, one of the earliest memories I remember having was there was a period of time, it's probably like 4-year period of time when my brother and I shared a room. I'm 6 years older than him, and I want to say I was probably maybe 9 or 10. And the way my bed was situated in this bedroom was a twin bed, and it was on the wall that the door was on. I was very crafty. I had rigged up like fishing line and all this crap through hooks so that I could just pull a fishing line and shut my door because I was lazy. And this door, I closed it, and it stayed open this much. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night and glancing at the back of the door, and I saw like a black shadow behind the door, but it wasn't on the floor. It was up higher, and it was floating there. And I did kind of like the wipe your eyes thing, and it was still there. I couldn't really make out what it was. I had one of those Nerf basketball hoops on the back of my door growing up, so it could have been a shadow from that. I never really knew because I just kind of pulled the covers up and called it a night. But there would have been no reason for my house growing up to be haunted. My parents built the house. But that being said, the land, we don't know what's on the land. The land was all native land at one point or another and all that. So, and then when I was older, I actually moved into a new bedroom in the house. And I was like maybe 14, 15 at this point. And the TV in my room was like diagonal from my bed. And I was laying there watching the TV one night. And all of a sudden on the bottom corner of the screen, there was this silver face. And the silver face was looking directly at me. It wasn't just looking like the TV. It was making eye contact with me. And it looked like it was a paint, like makeup, shiny, silvery face. And it was blinking at me. And I'm like, what the hell's this? Like I'm tired, whatever. And I just turned the TV off. I was like, I'm not dealing with any of this stuff right now. Like calling it a night. So at that point in time, when I was that age, this still wasn't internet like we have now. So it wasn't, I'm going to, type up on Google and see what Google didn't even exist back then.
Right.
So I didn't know what to do. And at that point in time, I used to collect books and read all the different books of hauntings and things like that. So all that stuff was fresh in my mind. So could it have been tricks of my mind? I have no idea. But those were some of the things that kept me intrigued and kept me researching and looking and trying to find answers and see what else happens to be out there. And then the more you pull on the thread, the more it falls apart, and more experiences followed.
Have you ever heard of Firefox? It's a series of books.
I don't think so.
You need to look into it. There's one book, and it's all about Appalachian. There's a series of books, but it's all about living in Appalachian, how to build a log home, blah blah blah. But they have one book in all this that talks about them sharing ghost stories. And that's what my dad read to me as a kid. I think I was like 3rd grade.
I'm like, okay, I'm not getting scary stories to tell in the Dark series, and those are awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good bedtime story.
Well, my dad just was so into it, and he wanted us to go to the Amityville house.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even 4th grade yet.
You're so lucky. That's awesome. I've taken my daughter there twice.
Well, we never got to go, but however. So, where was your first official investigation, and how long ago was it?
So my first real official investigation, I guess it would be with equipment and things like people look at now and consider an investigation. It would have been Bobby Mackey's in Waverly Hills. That would have been almost 7 years ago now. I've been investigating, lowbrow for 20 plus years, doing my own stuff,
right.
Cemeteries, abandoned houses and stuff. But first real deal, I would consider the Bobby Mackey and Waverly weekend that I did for my 35th birthday.
Did you get anything at Bobby Mackey's?
Besides sick, no. I think Bobby Mackey's is one of the most trumped up places I've ever been. I had some experiences there. That's not to say I didn't, but I think that is just a hype machine that they capitalize off of, and I was not impressed. I'd go back to have a drink there, but I would never spend the money to rent the place again.
Right. Hey, Russ, and I needed to also say hey to Laura and Hannah.
Hello,
Russ
everyone.
says, why is Warner so irresistible? Asking for a friend.
Russ, don't do this. Don't stroke his ego, please.
Courtney, you're here to balance it out. It's fine.
So how about you, Courtney? What was like your first real investigation?
I think that was at the Oliver House in Middleborough.
Mm.
I think that was 2018, 2019, Matt?
Yeah, that was probably right around there. That was right at the beginning of Warner Paranormal Explorers, right?
Yeah, it was like a little before, so it was probably 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was like the first investigation, and then that was the first time I actually had like a really cool experience.
That's cool. And Aaron says, why is Courtney so irresistible?
Love you, Aaron.
Why do you think I keep her around?
So, looking back at your first investigation that you've done, and it doesn't have to be official, what changes have you made in how you investigate today?
I surround myself with much better people. We'll start with that. Not to say that Waverly trip was like it was only like 5 of us. One of those people I don't talk to, but the others, my daughter's mother, my brother, my sister-in-law. So it was good people. But since then, you travel, you do these investigations, you realize you don't like some people, you don't vibe with some people. So there's that. I rely a lot less on tech and TV gadgetry crap now than I did then. I have definitely found out what I like and what I don't like to use. Mm-hmm. And I've realized that everything we see on TV is a load of bull. So that's me.
No, because people are shocked. I have never watched one episode of Ghost Adventures. Never. It just didn't intrigue me. I did watch one episode of International Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
And I got really kind of teed off because they were in Dracula's castle, and he was speaking English to him, and I was like, yeah, I don't think English was around back then. Just saying. And I don't know how you would get English words in Romania. So
Google Translate. We have it now. We didn't have it back when that show was on.
I was like, there you go. Russ says, what is your favorite piece of equipment?
My rods.
What?
My rods.
Yeah.
Kim got it. She heard it. Whatever. This is a family-friendly show. They're dowsing rods. They're my favorite.
Uh-huh.
Well, you can't say my rod's your favorite either, Courtney. You have to come up with something else now.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Almost had you speechless.
Be appropriate.
You've known me way too long.
I naturally have a very dirty mind, so everything always.
Yeah, that's Matt for you too.
I can't help it. Okay,
but I think mine's the music box.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. But it's like it's hard for like anything to set it off unless it's like actually something. So that's what I like about it.
And I like the trigger part of the music box because if you're dealing in a location that's quite old, you know, the spirit box could be quite confused, like hard, where music boxes have been around forever, so everybody had one at one point.
Yeah, I mean, we just had some awesome experiences with it, so we got like a lot of interactions with it, so that's why it's like one of my favorites. You see this right now?
Russ is having a good time in chat.
Russ has probably been drinking since noon.
Welcome, Lily. So why? Okay, I have to ask you this because not that many people use dowsing rods.
Mm-hmm.
So what pulls you to using dowsing rods?
So, like most people that get into the paranormal, at one point or another, we all buy all the stuff we can think of that we can use that we see others use. And that was no different for me with the dowsing rods. I obviously understood how they worked. But for years, my rods just didn't work. I've heard they have a pill for that. I don't know yet. I haven't looked into it. Courtney, dirty bird. I wasn't even going there, Courtney, and you brought it there. Like, come on, man.
Well, it's like in my head already. So,
oh, Lily, I'm sorry. You stepped into some craziness, but strap in. So for a couple of years, I didn't get much use from them. They wouldn't respond. I can't even with this conversation. The two of you, I can't. I'm not trying to make eye contact with either of you. Kim's about ready to burst laughing. Courtney just doesn't shut up. After I had some Reiki done on me and I had some negativity scrubbed for me and all this stuff. Now, prior to that, I didn't really believe in any of that. I was kind of like, yeah, but whatever you want to do. And after that happened, I actually felt the difference. We can boot Erin from this. She can go. Just depends on the person, Erin.
Erin, I love it.
So after I had the Reiki, I was much more in tune with myself. And I was open and more channeling to the spirits, and they found me more. And I did start noticing it. And then the rods started becoming more of an attachment in my hand versus just a tool. Like I could feel them working. And now I can set up shop pretty much anywhere and get some sort of reactions from them. So I've grown to really like them because for me, I do this all for myself anyways. I used to worry about like making people like impressed, and I don't really give a shit about that anymore because I'm taking these experiences with me everywhere I go. At the end of the day, if Brad and Karen don't agree with it, they can piss off because I'm not worried about them. So I think we've all agreed that Brad is the alternative to Karen for a man, right? Like, is that where we're at in this world?
I don't know.
Brad.
I've heard Kevin and Karen and
no, Brad's more of
maybe Chad.
Frat. Chad's a frat.
Yeah, frat boys are awful.
Yeah, they're not Karens.
Sure they are. Anyway, it's a discussion for another show. But anywho, that's why I like them, because I find that I get really good responses with them. And I usually will use them in conjunction with tech devices too, so that we can kind of cross-check when things are happening, whether it's an EDI or the static dome or a REM pod or things like that. But and also we'll use them a lot in conjunction with the Spirit Box too, to see if we're getting similar responses.
That's interesting. And I just want to say welcome, Lily. This is her first time here, so hope you enjoy it. And
hopefully not your last.
Well, she says she's been in crazier streams than this, so the night's still young.
We haven't had our Moscow mules yet, so that's a good thing.
Oh, if I was making you mules, you'd probably already be sleeping.
Nah, Kim would probably boot me off.
You don't know what you're in for tonight.
And of course, my husband has to put in. Great way to find water too.
Correct.
The one thing I kind of got with dowsing rods, and I've never played with any. I just say dowsing rods, dowsing. Is you have to be open and willing for that communication to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've seen some really bad actors out there with the dowsing rods, and you can see them going. "Mm."
Oh, you mean the ones that fly open at the blink of an eye at breakneck speed? Yeah, those people are full of baloney. We all know those people.
Mm-hmm. Lily says, I will be the first to tell you all this. When I came in here, I will not and don't tolerate anyone talking bad or saying negative comments about any of you.
Already
Well,
get our
thank
back.
you kindly. Thank you. So, talking about, that you are just done with impressing people. You are doing this for you and your path. And that's the one thing I have always liked about you is your honesty. You say what you mean what you say. So I have to talk about
I'm waiting for it. I relish in this crap, so let's do it.
Oh God.
What made you want to do the unpopular opinion? I think you got up to 9, 10.
You did your research, huh?
I do my research on everybody, so.
So I will say with the unpopular opinion, for those of you that don't know about it, it's on our glorious YouTube channel at Warner Paranormal Explorers. You can subscribe to that. That would really be helpful. They're older videos, but what was going on at that point in time was not much different than now. I'm just a much more calmer person now that I've aged a little bit. But I was just seeing so much of the same nonsensical riffraff throughout the paranormal field, and no one's speaking up on the behalf of people or just letting this same nonsense happen over and over again. So I said, you know what, whatever. I'll say what I need to say. Like, I've got a toolkit. Like, I can burn a bridge and build myself a new one. I don't need anyone else. So if I piss off 3 people that have been steering people wrong because I called them out, so be it. And it actually wound up being a fairly popular thing, because I had people reach out to me on the side, thank you for saying that. Thank you for putting that out there, because not enough people are realizing that and standing up for it. And I mean, it wasn't anything. I didn't feel like some, flag bearer, like leading the charge, like changing the world, but I wanted to say my piece, because I will always say my piece. And that's probably why my circle shrinks all the time. But it is what it is. Like, I'd rather just be straight up and honest with people than to be like so many of these other people in the field, and then talking about them when they turn their back.
Yep. Let's see. So my husband says, are you saying some people fake it on the internet?
No.
So there's a good chance if you go on YouTube and you see a thumbnail and they're going, it's going to be a fake video. That's my assumption. If they're making an O face in the thumbnail, keep skipping.
There's no such thing as a fake video on the internet.
No,
especially with paranormal. Everything is real.
Everything. Demons are everywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely everywhere.
Oh God, please just don't get me. I mean, every time you turn around, it's a demon. I tried to get into watching that new thing with, is it Kesha?
Oh Lord. Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, okay.
I didn't watch it, so I knew better.
I watched one and I was like, I couldn't finish it because I was so sick of hearing demon. You're in a prison, honey, a violent prison that's been around
filled with a-hole spirits is what it is.
Right. And it was built, to take in people that were running from fighting in the Civil War. I mean, nasty stuff happened there. But is it a demon? No. I mean, how it's so rare to. Anyway, we'll get off of that one. But that's what I liked about you and was drawn. I guess it's easier for me to be able to tolerate you because my husband is just flat out brutally honest. I mean, the first year of our relationship, and I'm not a crier, he had me crying. I'm like, damn, you are rude. I'm from the South. We don't talk like that. So 16 years later.
Us assholes, we have it different up here. We kind of wear our heart on our sleeve, so to speak,
But I mean, I think people like to be coddled and stroked and told how great they are. But if you point out a flaw, then that's when, the whole thing just turns into a sloppy mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just don't be an a-hole.
Right.
It's
hard not to be, but you gotta walk that line.
What do you think about debunkers?
Oh, I'm a huge debunker.
Do you follow?
I actually, and I've actually said this to people. Like, I actually feel bad because I do take great joy in debunking things because that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm also like Courtney. I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptical believer. Like, I know what's happening to me. I don't need to prove myself, but you need to prove yourself, and everyone else needs to prove their experiences to me. It's not that I don't believe you, but if I didn't see it, why should I? So, that being said, anytime there's an opportunity to debunk, I run with it. But on the flip side of that, I just had a conversation with a buddy of mine, Philip, today on a big post he put up about orbs. And I love the fact that everyone's so quick to debunk them, but there's that 1% you can't. I've seen some things with my own eyes, not through a camera, that I'm not going to see a dust orb go pulsing by me with techno music bass behind it. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. So
right.
I've had some experiences where it's like, I'm not going to say that was a bug. It just isn't I'm not going to do it. And I love that. I love that topic because people get the panties so tightly in a wad.
Oh, it's such a controversial subject, orbs, and people get so. I mean, I'm like, quit! Y'all stop being mean to each other. Everybody has a right to believe in what they want to believe, and you go, okay, I agree to disagree. I'm on the fence. I mean, I've seen things like you. I've seen things. I mean. The city that my husband was from was bombed 3 times. So you can imagine the death and on top of that other horrible thing. So I've seen things and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, but if you are in a dusty area and you go, oh, there's an orb. No, that was dust. That was just flat out.
Exactly. And if everybody's sitting still for the past 20 minutes and all of a sudden some comes pulsing through a wall, it's not a dust. It's not a dust bunny. Could it be a bug? It could be a bug, but it's definitely not dust.
Yep.
I also love Nickelback and make sure to let everybody know that too. So I like to buck the trend with a lot of things and irritate people in that aspect. So
Lily
That's who I
says, be
am.
careful of what you say. And then she says, it's just that some ghosts can be like that, and there are some that are not like that. I'm not being rude. No.
I think she's probably referencing the fact that some ghosts pretend to be something that they're not. And I mean, people always, if it might not be a child, it might be the D word. It's not. It could be.
Right.
It very well could be, but it's not.
Right.
I've never encountered a demon, and I've gone to some horrific places and asked for this experience, and I've not had it. And I think that the amount of times that people have actually experienced a real demon, a legit demon, are so minute you can't measure it.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if I passed away tomorrow, I would really mess with some people I know really hard.
No, you'd
especially my ghost hunting friends. I would make them think there's a demon in their house because I would make sure that was me.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing right there is people don't research enough and delve in enough to find out, is this really something that may be demonic? Or, and this is what most people don't understand, is a once living human being, if they are a flat out asshole jerk, what do you think they're going to be like in death?
The same.
And then people get that and think that's a demon. No, he's just a jerk. They can mask themselves and make themselves look scarier.
Yep.
And you gotta, the one thing I have had to learn is picking up the vibration from the energy. And you can tell, because I only ran across one elemental and I was like, nope, don't want it. I walked away from that one. But it's so rare. I mean, I've done my research, and priests say it's very rare that they do exorcisms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if the Catholic priests are saying that, then they got nothing to lose.
Yeah, especially like if like in life you had such like a high, like strong energy, you're gonna bring that energy in the afterlife too. So like if you were just like a very strong person, like how like Matt would mess with a bunch of people, his ego and energy is just so strong that in the afterlife, like that energy would still be there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the same thing. Like that's why like those things happen, or more people get the feeling of being uneasy because those strong energies are there.
Right. So do you guys think in certain locations that music or sound can shake up that location, shake up the spirits? Have y'all experienced something like that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Courtney. Tell the stories. You're good at this one. Let me save the voice.
What?
Let me save my voice.
Okay. So at our research center at Stuff Hall, it's a Civil War place. I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. But we were sitting in a circle. There was only a couple of us, and we were sitting in a circle, and we started playing taps. You know, like like what they play at like funerals, like military funerals, that stuff. Well, that somehow made something upstairs go crazy because we just heard footsteps like upstairs. Just like it seemed like they were like running. And
wow.
Yeah.
You could feel the energy in the building, just like it was like you turned on a light switch but didn't see anything. You could just feel it.
Yeah, like it kind of like got like, I mean, it also could have just been like that music. When you hear that music, you kind of start to get sad because you know it's like it's a funeral, like a military funeral. But you can like just like feel it, and like you can just see everyone's just kind of like I don't know, just everyone just kind of their shoulders just kind of like went down a little bit, and you just be like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Like, it just seemed like the room just like kind of got alive. And the room that we were in, they actually held funerals there before. And there's military replica there. So that was like, I call it the war room. So that is pretty much like more towards like geared towards more of the like soldiers and stuff like that. So that really brought something. And the music box. We believe there's a couple of kids at the hall, not demons, kids.
Right.
And they love the music box, like love it. The same night that we heard the footsteps upstairs, we brought the music box downstairs, and I was like, "Oh, Matt, the music box is going off." And he was like, "It's off though. How could it be going off?" And I was like, "No, like you're kidding." And everyone heard it go off. And I actually went over to the music box and I turned it on. And I was like, "Yep, it was off." So something that was upstairs, we heard it mimic the music box, like clear as day.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It wound up mimicking the sound of the REM pod about 2 weeks later too.
You're your recent, what was it, TikTok? Your recent one that you did upstairs? I got on there and holy cow, I mean, everything was going off. I was like, what?
That was the most active night I've ever been in that building. It was like you went to a buffet and you're like, all right, I want to have all this stuff, and it all came with us. And it was like, it was everything aligned. It was incredible. It was a private rental that night. So I usually don't investigate with the private rental. I usually sit on the laptop and watch movies, and like, oh, we really want you to investigate with us. And I said, all right, that's fine. So we're just doing our thing. And all night long, even before that TikTok live, we're having interactions with everything. And these people had never been there before, and they're coming to cross-check some things they're pulling up with me, and I'm just loving it because I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so-and-so. Oh, yeah, you got the name? That's the name. And we don't tell people what's going on in the building unless they want to know. So when they come in, we give them a tour, tell them the history of the actual building, and we say, if you want to know anything that's happened, you can ask, but we won't tell you until the end of the night. Because people like to, come to their own conclusions, and we prefer that. So we give them all the option, and everybody always takes that option. And then, halfway through the night, you got people running up to you all night. Well, what's up with this? I got this. I got that. I got this. And
it's incredible.
It was unbelievable. It's unbelievable what we've been able to pull out over that place.
I've heard like multiple people come up and be like, oh, like, so I got this and this, and my mouth just drops because I'm like, excuse me. Like, it's just incredible that other people are having the same exact experience or getting the same exact names. And like Matt said, like, we don't tell them, so they don't know. They don't know any of the paranormal experiences that we've had. So it's incredible to see that.
That's we're gonna get to it soon. I can't wait to talk about it because this place is just awesome.
It's the second hour. You got to stay and hang out.
I know. We can do it just 15 minutes away. So, Sean, welcome, Sean. Matt has no ego. What are y'all talking about?
Sean strokes my ego just like the rest of them. Sully's battling COVID with the family, so I hope you guys are feeling better.
Let's not even talk about that. So, what is your top 3 locations and why?
Top 3 that I've been to? I'm putting our location right at the top, and bias aside, a big part of it is because I've spent more time there than anywhere else.
Right.
But it's also proven itself time and time again to be completely active, and it is giving us everything we could ask for. So in terms of us for personal experiences, historical research, and everything, it's fantastic.
Right.
So I'm going to put that up there. I'm going to say the Detroit 6th Precinct in Detroit. I only got to go there once, and it was one of the most incredible nights I've ever had, and all kinds of things happened there. Some of the scariest stuff that's ever happened was happening to me there.
Isn't that the night you got that attachment?
That was the night Ken got the attachment off of me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all kinds of crap. That was the night I got rushed by the energy out of the cell block. So that's on the list. And then, I mean, I'm probably going to say Wilson Castle up in Vermont, because it's another one I've spent a lot of time at, and I had my first full-blown psychic experience at that location, and it's something I hold very near and dear to my heart. And I love Denise and Andy. They do such wonderful things up there. So it's another place that I put. So that would be my current top 3.
How about you, Courtney?
Courtney's turn.
I haven't really experienced as many places as Matt has, but like Hartstuff Hall, definitely number 1. Number 2 is Oliver, the Oliver House in Middleborough. I've had some really cool experiences there. I'm trying to think where else. Like, never will go back.
Freetown
Forest.
What?
Freetown Forest.
I've never heard of it.
The Freetown State Forest. It's the southeastern tip of the Bridgewater Triangle, and it's known for a lot of things that have happened down there: satanic rituals, murders, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a horrible experience, so I'll never go back.
Oh. Have you, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, because you touched on it just with the last question, experienced anything dark? I don't use demonic, but there is darkness. And have y'all experienced anything dark that was like, okay, whoa?
Go ahead, Court.
So I think the only time I really experienced that was actually at the Oliver House. Matt and I were down in the basement, just doing some like recording and stuff like that. And like we just looked at each other and we were like, is it getting darker in here? And like I know like our eyes like adjust to, like the dark and stuff like that, but there was a window with light, and all of a sudden that window, like that light just disappeared. And you just felt like the darkness, and you felt like this overwhelming feeling to the point I've never experienced this before, like, and I haven't still to this day, to the point where I physically thought I was going to get sick. And you could actually hear me talking to Matt and going, Matt, like, I'm going to get sick. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I feel nauseous. Like, all of a sudden, my stomach just felt like it was like going to just explode. And so I like stood up, I took a deep breath, and I was like, no, like, I'm going to get through this, blah, blah, blah. Matt's like saying like, hey, like, whatever you're doing, like, stop. Like, you're not welcome to do that. And so I just tried like really hard to just like think positive thoughts and just be like, you know, whatever this thing is, like, it needs to like stop. But I think after like 2 minutes, I was like, I got to get out of here. And Matt and I left, and I had the worst paranormal hangover in my life. It was awful. Like, my family was like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. That was one of the worst nights.
I've had so many experiences. Like I'm just listening to you tell that. I'm like, man, I forgot I was at that. Like,
yeah, it was awful.
So what about you, Matt? I mean,
I have. I've traveled a lot of different places, a lot of places in this country and outside of the country. And my favorite types of places to go are prisons, asylums, those types of places that hold that dark energy. We all know that's the kind of responses that you're going to get most likely the most of. And I would say that it was Detroit 6th Precinct for me, because that's current memory. That's the most scary experience that I've had. And that place, there was so much history that happened there. The Detroit riots broke out at this location in the late 60s, right in front of it. They have a shooting range in the basement. The gang unit that worked the prison, the town came in and fired the entire police force at one point because it was so corrupt. So many things were going on there. People were murdered in their jail cells in this building, and you could feel this energy. And there was a known spirit in the basement by the name of Billy. And when I was there, it was with Chicks and Spirits. I always forget their name. I'm sorry, Heather, if you're watching. But the three gals were in the basement doing like EVP type stuff, and I walked down, and I will say, the only time I ever provoke is if I'm in a place like that, because those people were scum, and I have no remorse for them. So I do it to get a rise. So I'm down there using the dowsing rods and what have you, and getting responses, and I'm feeling this presence on me, and come to find out, we're communicating with this Billy person, and I was trying to figure out. I said, what did you? I was trying to figure out what he did as a person, what his crime was, and I got to the point where I found out that he was a rapist. And I said, I said, you are the lowest of the low. You're just scum. You're absolute trash, and I don't feel bad for you whatsoever. And at that point, that energy in that room changed so much, and something just kind of come around me. And I said to the girl, I said, well, I'm going upstairs. I've done enough here. Like, good luck to you. I'm leaving. So I went upstairs. A little later on, and it was middle of July, and it was 95 degrees inside this building. Batteries were just basically melting in devices. Nothing was working. I'm sweating, trying to figure out my stuff. So they had this live stream going from the cell block, and a friend of mine was watching it, and he texted me, said, hey, there's something going on in the cell block. Go check it out. At this point in time, everybody is outside trying to cool off because it was cooler outside. So I'm like, knowing damn well, I don't want to go in there. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm a very scared ghost hunter. I will admit that fully anytime anyone asks. Like, that's who I am. So, but I also knew, all right, there's a camera in there, so I'm not really alone. So, puff the chest up. I go in there with my dowsing rods, standing in there, and the cell block had 5 cells on each side and a drunk tank at the very end. So I'm asking questions. I'm like, all right, what's going on in here? Somebody saw you, this and that. And I saw a gold soccer ball sized ball of energy go rolling across the floor, like out of my corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, okay. Now, these are all new things that are starting to happen to me after all this Reiki and all that crap that I wasn't expecting. So I'm like, oh, I see that. Okay. And I'm standing facing these cells, asking questions, getting responses from the rods, and I see a form of a person in the back of the cell come towards me, just enough for me to see it, and then it just backed back up. And I'm just kind of like, all right, so you are here. Okay, let's get some answers. Like, if you want me to leave, you're going to have to, let me know you don't want me here. I hear footsteps down in the drunk tank. So I walk all the way down there. Nobody's in there, making sure nobody's messing with me. I said, all right, what's going on here? Then there's footsteps down back at the other end where I just came from. So now I know they're playing with me, and I'm not happy about it. So I get back to my spot. I said, listen, I don't know what your point is, but you're really irritating me, and I don't have time for these games. If you want me to leave, just do something to make me leave. In that doorway of the drunk tank, a massive black figure fills the door, like 6 foot tall, hulking black mass. And I look, and this friggin' thing comes rushing down the hallway at me and hits me. I feel the cold, the energy. It goes through me. I basically die inside. I hold it together because I got a camera on my left. And I said, well, I'm going to leave now. And I left, and I never went back in that building. I was done. I had had enough, and it did what I wanted it to do. It let me know it didn't want me there. So I said, cool, I don't want to be here either. And went back outside with everybody that night, and that was that. But that building was crazy, and it had a lot of dark energy in it.
So Aaron says, imagine contacting Dahmer.
That'd be the best.
See, he was a coward. Like,
yes, he was very. I mean, I watched an interview, and he's not this big scary person. He just took advantage of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, psychologically,
he drugs people. That's all it is.
Yeah, but psychologically, I would just love to just really talk to him and just get to the bottom of it.
I think mine would be Manson. That would be because he was a little.
Geen or Albert Fish for me.
Cults like that freak me out.
And Ted Bundy, because that guy was smart. I mean, that guy was smart.
Ted Bundy literally is like the weirdest serial killer because he shouldn't have been a serial killer.
Right.
So
he also shouldn't have been able to break out of jail twice.
Yeah, but there's something
else.
Yeah, there's something else that ticked him off. Like, he is not your typical serial killer.
Yeah. And then my husband says, "Do you think hell lets people out?"
I'm not religious, so I don't think hell is existent.
And I don't
think it's
even
real.
know why he asked that question because he's not religious either. So,
Well, if hell's real, I'll let you know if I get out.
oh my God.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I'm not like religious either, but obviously, like I do believe that there's like a place that you go after. But I feel like if hell was real, they would have let things out because you're just gonna
we get reincarnated. We just come back. We're energy. We just circle around and come back as someone or something else.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I'm like,
Oh, I believe reincarnation too.
Well,
I've lived many lives before. I have some weird fascinations about previous timelines that make no sense.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like I was a soldier in the Revolutionary War. I'd be willing to bet my life on it. And I'm so fascinated with the Victorian era. I must have had something going on in the
Which
Victorian
side
era.
did you fight for?
It's not the British.
Okay.
Not the losers, that's for sure.
Okay.
I like to joke with people and tell them I was Paul Revere. I mean, that would be pretty awesome. But
that would. I don't know. I mean, because with me being old, as I'm getting older, I'm like, I have MS. I don't want to come back. I know. I don't want to be reincarnated and do this shit all over again because I go back. I love history. So I go back and go, holy crap, nobody knew what MS was. What in the 70s, 80s, nobody even knew. But they knew there was something.
If you got reincarnated, you wouldn't have that.
I sure hope not, because
I feel like you're reincarnated to a different life. So you get to experience all different life situations. You can come back as a dog.
I wouldn't want to come back as a pet.
No.
It could be the way that I treat Mako and Marley. I would want to come back as a dog.
For every person like you, there's a person that ties their dog up to a bumper all day too.
Yeah, that's different, but
no, it isn't.
The way that I know, but the way that Mako and Marley is, like, I want their life.
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't want their life, but I don't want the junkyard dog life.
I know.
That's right. That sucks. Okay, so if money wasn't an issue and you could go anywhere around the world, where are you taking us?
Haunted wise?
Yeah.
Poveglia Island.
Oh.
Poveglia Island in Italy. It's literally the only place that I need to get to. If I got there, like, I don't care about anything else. That's always been my bucket list.
Yeah. That I mean, when I watched it, they weren't into paranormal. They were just explorers, and they got a good several hours in just exploring it. And I was just like trying to because I'm working on my remote viewing. And that place is I can't. It's weird.
I just wonder if it's so much folklore and hype that you go and it's just like, oh, it's just a peaceful island with some ruins now. Like, but for me, all the stories, all the shows that I've seen on it over the years and all of it, I just need to experience it. And I will.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get there. You just got to pay a local to take you by boat. And
right.
I will get there. And, mark my words, within the next couple of years, I'll do it.
See, my husband won't take me.
There's so many places that I want to go that I will go. I don't care about the safety of things and things like that. These are like important to me places to go. Unfortunately, Putin has ruined Chernobyl for me for a little while because he's completely lost his marbles. But Chernobyl was going to be a reality for me within the next year, and obviously it isn't now.
Ouch. I just wanted to welcome Brianna. Welcome. If you have any questions, just throw them up in chat and they'll answer them for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick, what is your opinion on cleansing a location or even helping move on a spirit?
You want to opinionate, Courtney, or you want me to go?
So I jokingly did that one time, and it was not good.
Whoop. Whoop.
My friend was living at a house in Bridgewater, and it was a very old house, and like her and her roommates were having experiences like every day. So I like was half joking, half being real, and I was like, "Hey, like, you can move on. You don't have to live here anymore. Like, this isn't your house. Like, go to the light." Well, she told me I was never allowed to go to her house again.
Oh no.
When she
Oh
I forgot about
no.
this story too.
because when she got home, she said the minute she walked in there, she was like, "All right, F you, Courtney. Like, there's something going on." She just felt it. She went into her room. She heard someone running up the stairs from the basement, slamming the door. She packed a bag and slept at her parents' house for the weekend. And
Whoa.
before she left, she was like, "Whatever my friend Courtney did, I am so sorry. Like, she didn't mean it. Like, you can stay here. This
Right.
is too."
Just be nice to me.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, "She won't come back." Yeah, she literally was like, "You're never welcome back." So, I don't try to do that anymore.
It's funny because cleansing is one thing. Like I'll recommend, like, go get some smudge, get some sage, get some Palo Santo, all that stuff. Because I do that in my house all the time.
Mhm.
But you have to have belief behind it. We've not had many people ask us to do that at their house or anything like that. But in the same vein with the whole go to the light thing, one of the most profound damn things that's ever happened to me happened at the hall when I was doing the same goofy shit she was just talking about.
Right.
And it was myself, her, and her husband, Justin. And we were at the hall one night. Literally, we were filming B-roll just to have footage. We weren't even trying to really investigate. And we were up in the attic, and nothing was happening. What we were actually doing was I was waiting for the moment. I was trying to have jump scares of me scaring her for footage. And it was quite fun, actually. I got her really good with the rods. I poked her with my rods.
Aaron.
Full circle. We brought it back. And she was so pissed, and it was great. And we got it all on camera. And then I was like, all right, well, we should have some of us doing investigation stuff. So we were, using the same crap we always do, doing the same things. And I was saying, like, oh, if you're here, you don't need to stay. You can go wherever you want. And then I saw another one of them damn balls of energy roll across the floor. And there's this area up in the attic that's the hot spot. We all know about it now, and that's kind of where we focus on things. But I saw it, and I was like, oh, well, I guess we will really investigate. So at that point, I did that same hokey thing. I was like, you don't have to stay here. You can ascend. You can go to the light. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe that us as humans can do that. I don't think I can tell a spirit, like, hey, man, it's cool. You can go now, and have it work. But to each his own. So I don't do that stuff. If someone's like, oh, can you move a spirit on? No, I cannot. Because I don't want to pretend that I can and then have you be like, hey, man, the ghost is still here. He's brought his friends back. You're a total dick. You lied to me. Because I don't believe in that stuff.
Right.
I digress. So I was saying this hokey crap. And as soon as I finished saying it, there's a full-bodied apparition standing right in front of me, right next to this little room that's up there, about 6 feet tall, very skinny and gaunt, shoulder-length hair. It's white. Not like pure white, but not see-through white.
Right.
And as soon as I saw it, it was gone. I jumped back. I did a little shuffle to the side. And and Courtney didn't see it. I was being recorded, so it was caught on recording. Just before I saw it on the recording, you can hear shuffling on the floor when we were all standing still. So something did manifest itself, and then it was there. And we were just, I was like, good, I'm good here. Let's go. Like, that's only the second time ever I've seen a full-bodied apparition.
And I've never seen Matt jump like that before. Like, like me and him together were probably like the worst, like, investigators, because any little thing we're jumping, especially if I jump, he jumps.
You're causing it. You jump, make me jump.
I jump a lot. Like a little bang, I'm like, what was that? Like, and then I make him jump. So like we're like pure comedy. And so, but I've never seen him that scared. And I literally was like, okay, like we're done for the night. Like, we're leaving. Like, I was genuinely scared. That was probably the second time that I was scared at that place.
Yeah, that was a lot, because it was, like I said, it was unexpected. We were goofing off. We were just trying to get some footage to have on hand, but those are the things. It's the same thing when you turn your cameras off. You're not expecting it. That's when you're going to see the ghosts. So
that's why I like your honesty, because I've watched you through Project Mass Media, you know, and then I went back a little bit, and the one thing that I like is you are very honest, and you're like, I get the shit scared out of me all the time. You go in the hall and you're like, okay, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. I don't want to see you. I don't want to deal with you. No, don't jump at me. I love that, because I hear so many paranormal people out there. They're like, nope, I don't get scared. Bullshit. Because I can see, I can hear them, the whole thing. And if you are rushed up on, you know, which I've had, and you're like, okay, I need boundaries. It scares the shit out of you. And that's what I just enjoyed, your honesty and how you go about trying to deal with going into that hall by yourself.
I hate going there by myself. To this day, I hate going there by myself.
I won't even like go into another room by myself. And if I do, then I'm just like, all right, like, I'm here. It's not time to play. Like, I'm in here grabbing something. Don't talk to me.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, like, it's not a scary place. It's not like this place you walk into and, oh my Lord, there's nothing negative there. It's all positive, good energy. But it's just like, we have spent so much time in this place now, and they know us. And it's like, they don't care.
They say our name. Like, thank God I wasn't there that day, that night that they said my name, because I probably would have walked out, to be honest.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have to talk about this because it creeps me out. What is it about your haunted dolls and haunted items? Because I'm sorry, I've seen some of them. They scare the shit out of me. I know. And they're in your house. So that
there's one right behind them. Do you see her? It's Emmeline.
Oh God.
It's the Queen Emmeline.
Oh, no. She
so I have probably, you know, like 36 supposed haunted items in here. And I refer to them as enchanted because I don't feel that they're scary. They all do have their own energy about them. This doll behind me, Emmeline, she's the matriarchal energy of this entire home. She controls everything, and if she's good, everything's good. So it's really, I don't notice anything anymore in this house at all. It's very calm. But most of the stuff is given to me from people that don't want these things or can't have these things. And yes, Aaron, you did ring a spirit bell at my house because you didn't know what it was. I've got 40 some odd Ouija boards at this point in my living room, and I got 6 of them are supposedly extremely haunted. I've played with all of them by myself. They don't. I'm still here, So I take all that with a grain of salt, but I'm happy to take anything from people that if it's giving you an issue, I'll happily take it. I've got.
There you go, people.
A lot of dolls. There seems to be a lot of dolls. I've got haunted trunks. I've got haunted trunks filled with haunted dolls. So a little bit of everything.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think that these haunted items are just that? They're haunted? Or do you think there is a spirit attached to them?
So with Emmeline, we believe that there's something bound to her. And we've left it that way. And from all I've learned over the years of having her is just to keep her attention up. She likes attention. And I do believe that's why she found me, because I also like attention, and we're a match made in heaven for that. So I give her attention. I take her to conventions with us. She'll be there next weekend with us up in Maine. And I don't know. I feel it's an energy for the rest of the stuff. I feel like it's like I call it the Toy Story effect. If you play with a doll every day for 10 years and it goes in a box somewhere, you've shed and spent so much energy into that thing. Why couldn't that stay behind? I feel like when we walk in a room, we shed our energy like skin cells everywhere. We leave a little bit of ourselves behind. And it's like with haunted schools. Fortunately, most schools people don't pass away in, but yet you're always hearing the old schoolhouse is haunted by such and such. You're spending so much time there. You're leaving an imprint of yourself there. So that's kind of how I feel energy is in terms of that stuff being with objects. And even spiritually, like we might just be dealing with an energy portion of a spirit. It might not be a full-blown spirit. It's all pseudoscience, so we're just going to have to just accept it for what it is and keep trying and plugging away at it, you know?
Right. She still freaks me out.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Matt, because like before you got her, like you would see like a lot of things and hear a lot of things, and then once you got her, everything.
Yeah, this apartment was haunted when I moved into it with a residual that would come home every night around 10:30 and walk through the kitchen. And the first few times, I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I didn't sign up for this. And then I started bringing other things in. And the one instance I had with her that solidified this for me, I've done a lot of readings on things in this room too. And it'll start off their energy. And then all of a sudden it's like, haha, it's me again, because she wants to be the center of attention.
Right.
2 years ago, at the same convention that we had next weekend, I brought her up. My daughter and I went up for the weekend for Parafest, Maine. We brought the doll with us. And we were sitting at lunch the following day on Sunday on our way back home. And I got a message from a psychic friend of mine. And she said, hey, you've got like a really dark energy with you. It's a female energy and it's just with you. It's not attached to you. It's not attachment, but it's with you. And I don't know if it's something that you're carrying with you. So I sent her a picture. I said, is it this? And she goes, why do you have that? You need to get rid of it. I said, first of all, no. Second of all, I'm keeping her and she's good. We're good. We pal around, we take her out and this and that. And she just said, well, there's a lot of energy with that. Just be cautious. I know you know what you're doing. So whatever. So we went home, dropped my daughter off at her house, come home. And I had 2 totes of items and she was in one tote. The first tote I brought in didn't have her. I brought it in my house, walk into my kitchen. I hear a man and a woman talking in this room and then a child giggle. And of course, there's no one freaking here. So I walk in and I was like, well, great. Wonderful. So then I go out and I bring in the other tote with Ameline and bring it in and there's nothing. It's silent. What I gather, the matriarch's away. They're partying while she's gone. They're enjoying themselves, interacting, being loud, doing whatever they do. Now, nothing was askew. It's not like I came in and it looked like poltergeist happened in my living room, but man and woman conversation and a giggle. And there's just stuff everywhere in here. So I fully believe that she just kind of rules the roost.
Oof. I got a teenage son. I don't need any haunted items. Oh. So, okay, talking about, kid, you've taken your daughter to investigations with you. Mm-hmm. And I know you've talked about having some abilities. And that's the one thing I always worried with my son. Does she have any abilities?
I think she does. She's definitely sensitive like I am. She's empathic like myself too. There you go. I mean, don't leave me out. I'll take him too.
No, give him to him. I don't need it.
So yeah, she's had some experiences. Nothing, hair raising. She did have one scary experience here by these things that were brought into my house. The one things that I don't display in the house. It's a set of paintings. And since I brought it up, I will tell everybody, since we have time to kill anyways, I will let you know this story. This set of 4 paintings were found in the trash and they were brought to my home and came home one night and I was like, and they were here. And I said, oh, well, those are kind of strange looking there. Two of the paintings are the similar style, like a big-eyed cubist 60s painting style. And then the other one were two older women and they were painted kind of like, they look like stern headmistress or like judge type people. Yeah. Basically like grandmothers from the late 1800s or something. So these 4 paintings were just leaning against the kitchen wall. And I went to bed that night. Daughter went to bed. I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I came out, and I do that whole one eye shut thing, thinking I'm going to stay asleep, which we all do, I think. I was standing in the bathroom, and I see this glass ball of light. I say glass, like the size of a glass marble ball of light, doing a little figure 8 light dance in front of me. It's above the toilet. I understand. I'm like, well, that's probably just a car light going by. There's no windows in there, so that didn't make sense. But I tried to let it make sense to me at that point in time and went back to bed. Got up the next morning and I asked my daughter, like I do every morning, I said, hey, how'd you sleep? She goes, I didn't sleep. It was awful. I said, what happened? She goes, a demon came to my bed. And I said, what are you talking about? And she explained to me that at one point she woke up, she has a loft bed, and standing at the ladder looking at her was this boy man that had an oval shaped head, big black oval eyes, slick black hair, and it was staring at her. And she couldn't get my attention. She was yelling to me, and I wouldn't answer her. So she covered her blankets and went back to sleep. Later on, she woke up and she looked towards the bathroom, and she saw it standing in the bathroom, like hulking, filling the doorway. And she covered up again and went back to sleep. My thought is I saw it in light form when I went to the bathroom, where she saw it as its actual form. So I immediately said, I want you to draw what you saw. And she drew this thing out, and it kind of looked like one of the djinn from The Grudge, like the boys and girls in that. And it had 10 fingers on each hand, and she was so descriptive, and it didn't like the light. It couldn't go into the light, and it did this and it did that. And like years later, come to find out, there's something that a lot of people would see in their dreams. It's one of these creepy pastas. It's called Everyman, and it looked just like him. And she didn't have a phone back then. She didn't have a tablet back then. She wasn't on any of that. So that's kind of like, holy crap, But she saw this thing. So the next day I took those paintings and I put them down in the basement. I have them facing into each other. And I've brought them actually, again, poor Maine. I've brought all the crap to Maine. I have brought those to Parafest, Maine one year. And also to the New Hampshire Haunting the Haunted Paracon. So I brought them out of the house twice. I don't like holding them, and I'll tell you right now, people walk by them and they're like, I don't like those things, and they pick up on it. So those things brought that to her. That's what led me to believe that she has maybe not some abilities, but she's definitely open.
Right.
And from that point on, I made sure to keep that kind of stuff out of the house. But she also has expressed an interest in investigating, and she's almost a teen now, so she's kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll go, but she does still like it when she goes.
Tell them what happened to the picture.
Yeah, so the two pictures that she drew, thankfully I document everything via picture and posts. Those pictures disappeared. They were here. I had set them somewhere safe, and they are gone. And I have a small apartment. I've looked everywhere. This place has been moved around numerous times. Those pictures are absolutely gone.
So something didn't want to be recognized.
Yes.
And Matt's like he's like a clean guy, like
organized chaos.
Yeah, he's like, everything is organized. And I remember being at your gym and those pictures were there, and then we were talking about it, and you were like, oh, I put it in a file cabinet, and then you went to go look for it and they're just gone.
That's crazy. And I mean, I can relate that for a girl her age, that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, she was 7 at the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Jeez Louise. So, okay. Let's see if I get it. It's heart stuff. I'm sorry. I got a Southern accent, so I can't.
Heart and then Suff without the T.
Okay. Heart stuff.
Hall.
Yep.
So what is and I love this place because every time you go live, I'm there. Sometimes I may not say anything, but what is the history of this building and how did you hear about the location?
You want to do the history and then I'll do the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the history was that this building was built in 1899. It was built for the Civil War veterans that when they came home, they had a place to be together. What happened?
Oh, they're putting you on full blast.
Yes.
Don't be mean like that. Come
I don't
on.
like that.
I don't either.
Emmeline did it.
I know. I thought she was like putting me on blast. Like, no, Emmeline, that's
Yeah.
your job.
That's my husband being a yeah.
Okay, where was I? Yeah, so it was built for the Civil War veterans and like obviously the unions. And the thing I love the most is that they put cannons in where in front of the Hartsuff Hall, and it's facing the south. So just in case there was ever a rebellion and the South came up, they would have cannons ready. And those cannons are still there to this day.
I love that.
That's like my favorite part of like the whole place.
I love that.
So they had meetings for the veterans. They had meetings for wives who lost their husbands, and they would talk about who would own the land. They would have meetings with the children and all that stuff, all the fallen soldiers. They had a place for the soldiers to come home to and talk about what has happened. So obviously there's a lot of heavy energy that was left over there. But then after the war, like they knew the war wasn't going to happen, it turned into more of a meeting place. So there was 1 year there was a school. They had a school for a year. They had weddings. They had places.
2 funerals.
Yeah, they had a couple of funerals. They had like dances and stuff like that for the schools. They've had like you could just rent that place out just to have like a party. It once was a babies clinic for nurses. This place just became like an area for just anyone that wanted to be there. There was a couple of like clubs that were part of it. There was Boy Scouts were part of that, and they actually in the basement there's a shooting range. Yeah, very creepy.
That was put in the early 30s by the Rockland Gun Club.
Yeah, very creepy basement shooting range area. I don't know how that happened because there's like no ventilation and like
they didn't care back then.
Yeah, and it's like I can only imagine how loud it was in there because it's just like a box. But yeah, like so it was made. There was a bunch of things there, and now there's just a meeting place. And then Matt could take over because he knows the rest.
So actually, Sully, that was in here. I'm good with that. I ain't scared.
Yeah, he likes that.
My friend Sully, who was in this chat earlier, he and his former team many, many years ago, about almost 9-10 years ago now, they had investigated this location. And I had heard some of the stories about it. And I grew up right around the corner from this place, and I drive by it a lot. And it's one of those buildings you drive by, and it's like, man, I want to go inside that place. That looks cool. So for about a year, a friend of mine became a member of the association that runs the hall. They happen to do Civil War reenactments. So these guys do all that stuff, which we've since been sucked into ourselves. But for about a year, he was a member over there. And I said, hey, man, you just got to get me in there. I just want to investigate the place. I want to be able to say I go sent to this place. And he's like, yeah. So I wound up getting in touch with somebody. And I could tell that they weren't interested whatsoever in any of it. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll get you in. You can come and do that. Just let us know. And it kind of fizzled out, never went anywhere. And then the pandemic hit, and my ideas started coming. And my friend, who was a member over there, he was every meeting he'd go to. I said, hey, man, tell him I want to run some events in there and make everybody some money. Like, tell him I want to help preserve this place, right?
Right.
So he was waiting, and this was last November. I remember because I saw him that night, and I said, I know you got the meeting tonight. Make sure you raise your hand and tell him I want to do some events. He goes, if it comes up. That was the night the stars aligned. They said at the meeting, they said, hey, you know what? With the pandemic and everything, people aren't using the building anymore. We really need to find some way to raise some funds. And he goes, well, I know a guy. So the members said, all right, yeah, we'll have him come into the next meeting. So I went into the meeting in December and presented myself, what my ideas were, what my plans were for the location, how I can help, and what I'm willing to do. And it was pretty much accepted that, like, all right, we'll see. So I was like, all right, this is good. This is a good start. And it was one of those things where they said, oh, well, we'd really like you to be a member if you're going to be doing stuff here. And I said, well, what does that entail? I'm like, well, there's some paperwork and it's like $20. I said, I'm pretty sure I can handle it. So let's get this taken care of. So I wound up doing that, becoming a member of what I had no idea at the time. I was like, whatever, just sign my life away. You own me. I want in this building. And it was that minute I walked in for that meeting. I walked in, and the smell of this building, it's old antique smell. And it's, if I could bottle it and wear it, it's my favorite smell. So walking into the place for the first time, I was like, this was the right decision. I needed this. And so after that, they allowed us to, as a team, come in and do some investigating. So we could start, laying the baseline and what have you. And it was great because it was new to all of us. It was a new location, and it was something that I could offer the people in my circle that I enjoy ghost hunting with and hanging out with to become a part of. And that's what the society has been born from. It's the people that I really trust and enjoy being around. And they helped me quite a bit with this location in terms of organizing the events and making sure everything runs smooth and keeping me in line when I need to be. So we had a couple of great investigations in there, and I would report back my findings to the members at the meetings, and everybody except the main guy was all for it. Like, yeah. And then they would start telling us their experiences. Like, I've had this happen. I've had this happen. Oh, me too.
Wow.
I've won everybody over at this point. Everybody's very happy with what we're doing because we've really been able to help a lot there. And we've had some very successful events, and people enjoy being there. We're able to help further the preservation efforts and keep this building going for generations to come. And that's the overall goal with it. And in the meantime, we're fortunate enough because we have the town historian working hand in hand with us, and not just the Rockland town historian, but the ones from the neighboring towns of Whitman and Abington, which prior to the Civil War, all were one big town. So all that history ties right in there. And we'll do our live sessions, and similar to you, Kim, she watches, and she'll be, and if we're getting names, she'll send me 7 pages of information within 5 minutes of who it could be. And it's a dream for us because it's like back when they used to do Ghost Hunters the right way 20 years ago, there'd be that segment where they'd go to the town library and do the research on the property. We have that in real time without having to go anywhere. And it's a wonderful experience for us because that's being able to actually sit there, come up with a name, and have it tied historically to something in real time. It still blows my mind every time it happens. And it's happened to us half a dozen times. And it definitely doesn't go unnoticed that we're very fortunate with that. So we are thoroughly enjoying piecing together the history of this building as we go as well, because there's not a lot of history to it. We can't find much on it. It's word of mouth and very loosely written record of what actually occurred in 122 years at this building. So we're just digging in now. We barely scratched the surface. And we tell people that show up for these events that they're on the ground floor of this as well. They're helping us with this historical find. And it's been wonderful.
That is awesome. So tell me about your team and what they bring to the table.
So I started Warner Paranormal Explorers in late 2019. I had been on a team prior to that. I had done a lot of what I call freestyling, And I'm not one of those people. I have people that will message a lot. I'm not a person that's like, all right, well, you're going to be the tech person. You're going to we just do what needs to be done.
Right.
And I started Warner Paranormal Explorers as myself and my daughter for obvious reasons, because it's the name. And then I brought Courtney into it because Courtney's always wanted to do this stuff and never had the outlet. And I, popular or not, I actually like Courtney, believe it or not. So we balance each other out really well. And she loves doing research and I don't. So she's really good about that. And she's very helpful in that department. And her husband, Justin, is the 4th member of the team. And he used to just come along, I think, to support her because he's a good dude. He didn't believe in any of this crap. And now he's had enough experiences where he's a believer and he's a full-blown member of the team. So
me and Courtney, yeah. My husband's the same way.
The 4 of us are Warner Paranormal Explorers. There'll never be any other additions or anything like that. That is the core group. That's how it stays.
Right.
roles. We just have fun. That's what we do. We get to explore and have fun. When it came time to do the hall, I kind of was bouncing around the idea like I don't ask for help. I'm horrible about that. Courtney will tell you that. I would rather drown than say, hey, can you help me swim out of this muck? Because I just feel like I can do it. I'm trying to get a handle on that, but I can't. But anyways, I knew with this hall project that one, I'm going to try to do way too much because that's who I am as a person. And I did, and I do every day. And I said, well, I want some people that can add something to the mix. So we already had the explorers. We could have done this ourselves, no problem. But I said, you know what? On the off chance that I actually do need help, I want some people that I trust in here. So that's when I started reaching out to the people that have become members of this society now, and they all bring something different. And fortunately, we all do get along. I'm the common denominator between the people, but we are all friendly and we're all friends. And there are people that are more sensitive. There are people that have really cool equipment. There are people that are good at investigating. There are people that are good at keeping people under control. And we all have our little bit of role with that. So, and it's not to say that every time we do an event, the 12 of us are all in the same room. It doesn't work that way because it's impossible. But that's why it's good to have this dirty dozen of people doing what we do. So that's kind of how it came to be. I thought about like who I trust and then also who I can stand being in a room for 6 hours with. And that's it. That's the team. So.
Right. So, have y'all figured out how many spirits are in this location, give or take?
I feel like there's too many.
I feel like that I have personally interacted multiple times with 4 different ones.
I think 5.
5, huh?
5.
You talking about Ghost Bukkake?
Why are you always gonna bring that up? This is a family-friendly one. Stop it.
I had to. Tell the story.
No, not at all. No, thank you.
I think I know the story.
I think I probably told the story on TikTok Live.
You're spilling my juice out there, just giving everyone.
Just like that ghost did on your lip. Tell the story. Tell the story.
Oh my God.
No, because it just grosses me out. Like I feel like Kevin Hart, like Bum Bump. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
I haven't. So.
All right. So the story is rather short. I can tell it pretty quick.
No,
so
it's fine. I can do it.
You gonna do it?
So yeah, we were down in the basement, and I don't go down there anymore. But we were down there, and we were doing. We were just like talking about like the basement and everything like that. And I'm just like chilling, hanging out by myself. And I think Matt was next to me and Justin was next to me. And all of a sudden I felt this water drop on my lip. Instantly I got grossed out because I was like, ew, like 123-year-old building, like just got water on my lips. So I immediately like brushed it off. And I was like, oh, now I'm like, oh crap, there's water in here. So I look up and I feel the ceiling. It's dry. And I'm like, all right. So I look down the floor, it's dry. And I'm just like, all right, that was weird. Like I clearly felt water, not ghost bukkake, water on my lip. But the whole place is dry. Like I even like asked everyone, I was like, hey, like, do you guys see any watermarks or anything? Like the ceiling didn't have any watermarks. Like the ground didn't have any water. So yeah, I wanted to burn my lip off after.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out who the 5th spirit is, though.
One up in the attic.
So I got 2 up there.
Well, I just found that one out. So then there's 6 then, and then 4 in the hall. The ball.
4.
2 kids, the man and the woman.
I don't deal with that many in the hall. And in the hall, I feel like it's only the 2 kids.
Yeah, and then we talked to the man and the woman before too. Shows you pay attention.
Those are the ones that talk to me the most. The first floor foyer, who has been the most active out of all of them lately for me.
Oh, so there's 7. Or 7.
At least, I guess. We never know who we're talking with in there. I mean, we get to the bottom of, we know what kind of questions to ask now, and it's.
And I feel like there's like more and more popping up, like we know the history, so like we try not to like connect it too much, but then like things will happen. Like I'm not as sensitive, like I'm not a psychic, like I'm not any of that. I try to be more open, but my ADD doesn't let me be open. But I've seen literally like a ball of energy, the same exact place where 2 other or 3 other people have seen it. And it was like months after. And Matt and I were just weren't we doing another podcast at the hall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like facing the area where other people have saw it, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And I just like saw it in the corner of my eye. And that's when Matt was like, "Oh yeah, like I've seen it before, like someone else has seen it before." So like that, like 3 people have seen it. And then with the history of what we know about what happened in that area, we're just kind of connecting like, oh, like it could be this person.
I've been focusing a lot of my energies in investigating in that area lately, and it's been paying off tenfold. I think that spirit is happy that finally someone's recognizing it and giving it some attention. It's in a high traffic area of the building, so people just pass by. And I've been telling the groups, like, focus out here.
Slow down. Just slow down.
And it has been paying off for us. Now, the thing with the building, there's no reported deaths in the building. There's no tragedies within the building. But the building is loaded with period authentic items. Mm-hmm. There's items, and there's a musket from the Civil War, an authentic musket from the Civil War in that building, among uniforms and all these other things that energy could be attached to.
Mm-hmm.
There's paintings in there of soldiers that never returned. There's paintings of all the local soldiers in there that fought under General George Hartsuff. We have had this happened last week, actually, with this private group. They came down and they asked me a question about a certain painting on the wall, and it's a very odd name. They said, "Have you had any experiences with this?" And I said, "Well, what's going on?" And they said, "We're using dowsing rods, and we got the direction it was pointing to us, and we pulled it over, we asked, and this was the one, and they said, that's the person." It's the same exact experience I had 2 months ago. And it's not one that we tell because we don't tell the stories.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, this is fantastic. Why is this person attached to their painting? We have no idea. Most of these soldiers that are in these paintings never even were in this building because they were either killed in the war or they moved away. So it's very interesting to us. But a lot of these pictures and paintings are the only known pictures of these people in existence.
Oh, wow.
So there's a very good chance that no one will ever see these people again. And this is their place. So we do the best we can to keep it for them, you know?
That's what I like about how you do it. Because there's locations you go to and they just tell you way too much stuff. Mm-hmm. And with me being able to pick up on things, I'd much rather go in blind in a location and say, okay, this is what I'm picking up and whatnot. And, you know, if I'm right or I'm getting close to that. So I like that y'all done that because right there, you're not putting the seed in their mind.
Exactly.
So they're getting authentic, you know, interaction and evidence that follows the same line as you guys. And I really like that. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, because like, you know, like you said, like I've gone to places and then now I'm looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
Where instead of just trying to be open, now I'm looking for that specific thing. And then if it doesn't happen, I'm like, well, that didn't happen. But then I could have missed something else that's happened. So that's like why Matt and I came to an agreement of not talking about it, because we want everyone to have an open mind and not, like you said, plant that seed.
So we know that people that come to visit, they're given very limited information. Has anybody been like touched, pulled, anything like that? Kind of like, hey, I'm here. Because see, I look at it as if spirits are touching you or pulling you, they're getting your attention.
There has been, there's a lot of temperature fluctuation at this place, a lot of cold spots. There have been people that have been touched. One of the first investigations we did, I was touched in the attic. Little girl grabbed my arm and then through the spirit box called me daddy at the same time when I was in Estes.
Whoa.
So that was a pretty cool experience. Like when we're first getting there, I'm like, man, I don't want to be here alone. I hate this place. So there was a lot of things that have happened there, but there have been, her lip. There's been other things people been touched, but it's not like I was thrown against the wall and pinned there.
No.
Very, very subtle things that happen to people.
Right.
Yeah. You probably saw the TikTok too, but
the chair sound.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Tell that story.
Yeah. So this particular night, there was only 4 of us. And it seems that when we have smaller groups, which we only sell a limited amount of tickets because we don't want big groups. And they don't interact with big groups either.
Right.
But there was only 4 of us, and I just got out of work and I went straight to the hall. So I went to the bathroom quickly. And as I'm in the bathroom, I hear people walking up the stairs. So I'm like, all right, they must be giving a tour. So I go into the war room because that's like our meeting area, and everyone is there. And so I just looked at them and I was like, you gotta be kidding. I'm like, did any of you go upstairs? And they're like, no, we've been here the whole time. And I was like, no, like, please don't mess around with me. Like, did anyone go upstairs? They're like, no, like, we've seriously been here the whole time. And I'm like, great, like, off to a great start. Like, now I'm like already freaking out because I blatantly heard someone going up. Like, it wasn't a creak. It was blatantly someone with big, like, footsteps going upstairs. So now I'm already on edge. I'm making Matt jump because I'm jumping at every, like, noise that I hear. And so our friend Kyle was doing the Estes method. So he was up on the stage. Matt was closer to like the door. So he was to the left of me. Our friend Becky was in front and I was in the back. And they have like these old school, like theater wooden chairs that like are in a row. And and like they're not super springy. So if you push it down, it's not going back up. Well, all of them were up, and we're just sitting, and I learned a lot about myself that night. And all of a sudden, I heard the loudest bang right behind me. Well, I always thought like when I was in a fight or flight situation that I would fight. Well, I learned that I'm a fighter. But my boots were so heavy because it was so cold that day. My boots were so heavy that I couldn't move fast enough. So I finally got up and I ran. And Kyle like felt my footsteps, so he stopped the the Estes method and was like, "What is going on?" And I'm like laughing because I'm nervous. And I'm like, Matt, like, did you hear that? And he's mad at me because I took away from his experience. Sorry that I got scared, right? So he's mad at me and he was like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because it was right behind me. And like I look and all the chairs are up. But it sounded like something like opened the chair and then just slammed it against it. It was like that hard wood. And
it was an angry noise.
Yeah, like I'm here kind of thing. And I recreated the noise and it was exactly that.
Wow.
So Matt like fortunately got that on video and he made a whole TikTok about me and I'm a laughing joke now, but
no, the ones I get a kick out of is Matt going in there by himself. And there was one TikTok live you did, and you were going through, and you're like, "Okay, I'll show y'all. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it." And you can hear on the steps behind him somebody. I was like,
that was my first night in there by myself. That was a Facebook Live, and I reference that all the time because that scared the hell out of me.
That was the same night that I had my
experience. It was the same night, actually, because they were all late. The three of them were late.
Because you were like, "Did y'all hear that? Did y'all?" And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." It was loud.
Yeah. So after I heard those footsteps, then he was telling me like how active it was when he was there. So that was a really good night.
Depending on how you look at it.
I mean,
I just love. It's just so very authentic, and you're just like, okay, I'm not going to look. Stop! Don't jump at me. Leave me alone. And I could just imagine, you coming in to set up and get things going, and everybody, the spirits are like, "Oh, somebody's finally here. Let's get his attention. Hello."
Yep.
And you're like, "Nope, not having it. Stop."
I generally, like I said, if I don't have to go in there by myself, I don't. When we were getting this place underway, the attic 7 or 8 years ago, they put a new roof on it because the old roof was in bad shape. And when the old roof was on, pigeons decided we're going to live in your attic. Oh. And they left everything that they could have left behind on everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm an attic person. I love investigating attics. Some people are basement people. I don't care for basements. So I don't really spend much time in them. I love attics. So this attic is like something out of a horror movie, and it's just the best place on earth. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to clean this place up. I'm going to have to sweep all this up, like it's feathers and pigeon crap and everything else. So, I got some N95 masks, and the first time I went, I did not go alone. I dragged my daughter. I said, hey, listen, you don't have to help, but you have to sit here with me. I don't want to be by myself up in this damn attic. And it was the middle of the day. It's not like I was doing it at the witching hour. It was like, noon. But I don't want to be in this damn place by myself. So we did work. Everything was fine. And then the next day I come back. I was by myself this time because she had school. And I said, well, man up. So I went upstairs, realized I forgot my N95 mask. So I took 2 of the trash bags that I had filled the day prior. I brought them downstairs. I go out the front door closes. I hear a loud crash inside. And I'm just kind of like, what the hell? So bring the trash out. I come back in, and there's as you open the door, there's a giant flagpole and flag going across the door, blocking the door. And I'm like, listen, I told you I'm here to clean. I don't want to do this. Please, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm just trying to clean this place up. Not here to bother anybody. So I stood the flag back up. The thing has never moved since, by the way. No idea why I did that. Went back upstairs, not happily. And I had a little Bluetooth speaker. I was cranking music so that I wouldn't feel so alone. I'm just in one of the little offshoot rooms sweeping, and I hear a thud. I go out there, my speaker's on the floor. And I said, listen, if you don't like my music, I get it, but please, come on. Let's just not. Let's just not. I'll put on something else, but let's just not. And that was enough for me because I was like, I'm not comfortable in this place alone. And I'll tell you, when we do private events and I have to walk through to make sure all the lights are off, I freaking hate it. I hate it. I usually I'm like, hey, why don't you come with me? Just help me out. It'll be quicker.
I always do that. I'm like, Justin, come upstairs with me.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie.
Hey, welcome, Eddie. So, so we know that you guys have picked up on an intelligent haunting, but has anybody picked up on any residual energy?
Yeah, I think the stairs. I mean, you can only imagine.
Stairs have shown intelligence though too.
Yeah, but there's also, I mean, the time that I was in the bathroom and no one was.
The imprint I think that's a residual imprint.
Yeah, so I mean, just imagine all the people going up and down. And these are like gorgeous, like grand ball stairs.
Oh,
yeah. So you can just imagine all the people walking up. So I think that definitely, but I think a lot of it too, it's a lot of intelligence too.
Yeah.
We're learning as we go that they're starting to understand us, and I think their intelligence is now coming out. Whereas like we had all shy spirits in the beginning, and now we only have one, and that one's not even as shy as he used to be. So it's definitely interesting there.
That's really, really interesting. So has anything followed y'all home from the hall?
That happened once to me. When was that? A couple weeks back? 3 weeks back?
Was that the same day that you saw the 6 foot? Because you were having a funky week that week.
That was the culmination of it. Yeah, I think that's when I brought him back.
Yeah, and then you saw that.
Yeah, like I was having a hell of a week, and I haven't dealt with an attachment in a very long time, and I'm happy about that because I've been pretty much better about things. I used to be a magnet for it, and I didn't understand it at the time. I was like, I'm just in a shitty mood again, woohoo. And these things would pass after a few days. But then I started realizing that I'm getting these hitchhikers, and started having people telling me more about it and explaining things and, giving me offers and how to prevent it. So I knew something was off, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's been an odd week. And then I remember the night we were doing it. It was the week after that.
No, it was that night because I remember you saying like, "Oh, like, did you come home with me?" Because remember, that little girl was like, "You have something behind you."
That was at the school.
Yeah, it was the same week.
The thing with the residual though, it was the week after because it was when I was on TikTok and someone was telling me that spirit's name is when I started asking if it had followed me home.
Yeah, because I remember when we were there, you were like, "Oh, like, is that like, are you the reason why I'm having like a weird week?"
Yes. Yeah. So I was asking these questions and I was getting the responses, and I had to say, like you realize I'm here all the time. You're not allowed to come home with me. You don't need to, and I will be back, and I will continue to come back, and we'll keep communicating. But you're not allowed to come home with me. And I don't know whom or what it was, but I believe it was the one that I saw in spirit form. Who the week later, when we were doing a TikTok live, there was a psychic watching, and she said, like, he doesn't want to scare you again. And she has no idea what that even means at that point in time. But to me, I know exactly what it means because I'm like, well, he knows he scared me. And I said, you did scare me. I said, but that's okay because I wasn't expecting it. I said, I'm happy that you're making communications. And then she was saying more things about this spirit that were adding up that we had not talked about publicly before. So there's a lot of stuff that I just can't dismiss, and I refuse to dismiss. And I have my beliefs, and I really do feel like we're digging into something pretty amazing over here.
I love that location. It's one of the few locations, and we talked about this at one time because here my son's going to be 15 soon, and he's always coming to me going, "Mama, I saw." Is this video real? No, honey, it's not real. Sorry. So he's always coming and he's always asking and he's been curious. And he asked, he goes, can we go to locations? And most locations, you either have to be 16 or 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's a bummer because I would love for him to, he grew up with me. He's used to me talking to nothing. There's nothing in the room. So he's used to me fussing at something because it's messed with the dog or because I'm constantly, I'm 20 minutes from one of the top 10 bloodiest battlefields, Civil War battlefields. So a lot of nasty bloodshed has happened here. So I'm constantly having to keep this protected. And I like this location because people want to play on, oh, this is evil and these horrible things have happened. And you keep it light.
Mm-hmm.
You keep it friendly. You're fun about it. And I think that's what pulls spirits out as well.
That's also why we do kids events there, because for the same reason, we want children to be able to experience this because it isn't scary the way it's portrayed on television. And if they have an interest in it, why not let them explore it in a safe place with people that are going to show them how to do it. So we've had a lot of success with that as well. And the kids, the excitement you see on them when they get responses from, even if it's a spirit box and you still question if it's real or not, their excitement is all that matters to you, because they're realizing they could be communicating with something else. And we're happy to offer that. And I've always been bummed out about that too, because with my daughter, it's been difficult. Fortunately, people know who I am and I'm able to get her into places most kids can't go, but I still want kids to be able to experience this.
Yeah, because I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, I as a kid, I mean, I was a 70s kid, early 70s kid. And, you know, we don't talk, especially here in the South and the Bible Belt, we talk about hauntings, but we don't talk about hauntings that are happening to us. I don't know. It's very weird. Don't ask me.
No, I totally get that.
It's to me, kids are so open. Will you stop? The kids are so open, and to take them into this area and saying, "Look, it's not scary," and sometimes you'll be able to see them, and sometimes you'll be able to hear them, and it gives them that. Because I remember being scared to death as a kid. I didn't know how to talk about it. My parents locked their door because they were tired of me. I mean, so I think that is so, I just, it's awesome. I love that part of it. So I have to ask, since you're now, your focus is on this location, wonderful location, has your abilities popped out more?
I have my moments. I try to, with the building itself, I try to go in as open as humanly possible. I've seen, as like I said, the full-bodied apparition, that's only the second time I've ever seen that in my entire life. So that was pretty affirming. And prior to that, seeing the ball of energy, and I've been seeing the balls of energy again a lot more frequently. And that is a way that my psychic abilities manifest energy. That's how I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
So I know that something is coming through the cracks, and I'm okay with it. Like, I want to ease into it. I don't want all of it. And that's why it's never come up. I shut it down. But I think that I really owe it to myself in this location to try a little bit harder to open up, because I really want to get to the bottom of everything. And I want to be able to be that conduit between those spirits and the true stories that happened at this building, so that we can actually put these things down, pen to paper for once.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely more open to it. I mean, I've experienced more, and I don't know this person, but when she was at the hall, she was like, she looked at me, she was like, you need to stop being like reserved, like you need to listen more. And for her to say that, I was kind of taken back, because when things do happen, I kind of just sit there and don't say it, because I'm like, okay, did this really happen? And so for her to say that, I was like, oh wow, like you don't even know me, and like you could already, like you somehow knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely trying to be more open, and like she was like, you need to listen and let them talk to you. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know if I want them to talk to me, but but
the talking isn't as bad as seeing.
Yeah, but then am I going crazy? Like, am I hearing voices?
So I got 2 more questions, and I'm going to let y'all go. And they're quick, easy questions. But I want to say hello. Hello, Sharon. Love you, girl. So my last question, and then I got one more that has to do with the hall. Where do you hope to see the paranormal field 10 to 15 years down the road?
I'd like to see the people in it be a little bit more accepting of what other people are doing within the field. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, and just focus on why you're doing what you do, and just enjoy yourself. I'd like to see more new locations. By all means, that's what we're a part of, and that's what our goal is going to be. I mean, we all have the locations that we love, but they're stale. And
Yeah.
there's so many things that people aren't looking into because they're so hyper focused on these big TV places that sometimes can't hold a candle to these other little places you've never heard of. So I'd like to see more research centers or locations, however you want to refer to it, pop up, better acceptance. And I don't know. I think that's really all I could ask for. I think that's a reasonable goal to have for the field itself.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to see more people preserving more of the history of the different locations and, trying to figure out their stories, not because you want to be the next big thing, because you want to be on TV, because you want to make money. It's more of the preservation part and just telling the stories. And I mean, I would like to see more of the scientific part of the paranormal come out too. I mean, I know that's hard, but I know that like there's a lot of scientific things that we can develop and do more like for the evidence and just to get a better understanding.
Right. Those are great answers. I love them. So now we're in spooky season. What events do you have coming up at the hall? Or even Paracon? I mean, because this is busy season and.
All right, so I've got this thing memorized inside, upside, downside, outside. So this Saturday, October 8th, we have a sold out event. I'm happy to say that this event sold out in 48 hours. And we're really looking forward to this one. It's got a bunch of great people at it. Nick, you son of a bitch, you actually know the answer to that question. Twice. 2 different places. Congrats to you, Nick. Nick is going to be on the new show 28 Days Haunted on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Nick is one of my Iowa buddies I've not met yet. Legend has it he's a very large 6'7" something size man. So, but Nick is good people.
Where was Nick in the beginning? Because I'm not having you delve into that. But
Crow Ravensfoot will be coming out soon. Yes, we also will be bringing him back for those 8 or 9 people that love him. Anywho, before Nick derailed us,
right?
So we have a sold out event October 8th. Next weekend, October 15th, the Warner Paranormal Explorers crew will be up at Parafest, Maine, which is up in Vassalboro. It's a great event. It's one of the best conventions in the country. We go up every year. The Hartfords put on a piss of show, and the mill itself that they hold this event at is so cool. It's awesome to investigate. Then October 21st, we have a family-friendly paint night and mini ghost hunt at the hall, where kids and family alike will come dressed in costume. They'll do a cool painting for the night, and then we'll take them on a mini ghost tour. October 22nd, we will be up at Wilson Castle in Vermont for our 3rd annual Bash at the Castle, which is a way for myself and some of my investigative friends to let loose and have fun, all while bringing along some guests, that get the ticketed overnight adventures, and we just have a good time up there. And that's a fundraiser for the castle. October, I don't think we have anything until October 29th. We have a whole 6 days off. October 29th is our big one. It is the grand ball at the hall. It is not a haunted event. It is a black tie ball gown event where we will have a live band, dinner, dancing, and we are going to be bringing a party back to the hall that they have not seen the likes of in 100 years. Think Great Gatsby, Dances on the Titanic, The Shining, all that stuff. That's what it's going to be like, and we have a limited amount of tickets left for that, but we are really excited for that one.
Oh, I have a whole Pinterest board of decorations. Like, we are so excited for this event.
When you said that, I literally have got goosebumps all over me.
Yeah.
And I can just tell the spirits that are in there are going to just go bonkers.
Oh yeah.
We are excited for that one. It's going to be a lot of work. We realize that we're putting in great time behind the scenes on it, and we want it to be perfect. And it's going to be perfect regardless of 10 or 40 people show up. So whoever shows up is going to realize they came to the party of the year. Whoever doesn't is going to realize they missed out on the party of the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got November. In November, there's no sleep. The first weekend, we have 2 private rentals. Second weekend, we have Salem Paracon up in Salem, Mass. Weekend after that, we have a break. Weekend of the 26th, we're getting matching team tattoos. Get that to look forward to. And then December 4th will be our final event of the year. It is the Wicked Pissa Holiday Parafair. And there'll be pictures with Krampus, and it'll be a vendor extraordinaire with readers, psychics, all that good stuff.
I'm sorry.
I wish it was Dropkicks, man.
I have not seen them yet.
I've not seen the Dropkicks yet either.
Oh.
On the short list. But that gets you guys through the rest of the year until I wake up tomorrow and decide to add more events.
Well, that's awesome.
That band that's going to be playing is going to be like a jazz, like 1920s band.
Jazz and swing. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, we're bringing it back.
That's awesome. So I'm going to post all your links right after this so everybody knows where they can go to.
Thank you.
To find you. It'll be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
You want to come, Nick? You're invited.
You have to sit next to Emmeline, though.
And you have to eat at the autopsy table. It's the only one I got.
I know. It's
What?
gross.
You ate at it.
He made me eat pizza at it, and I wasn't happy.
Yeah, you were. The pizza's bomb.
The pizza was
No,
good.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having us.
And I mean, it's always, as I said, I love watching you investigate and gripe.
Thank you.
But I love your honesty, and I know there's no BSing, and you get what you see. And if there's nothing, and there's nothing, that's what I love. So I'm just so greatly appreciative that you made the time to come on. And y'all were the first ones to kick off my 3rd season. So
that's how we do it. We set the bar pretty high. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So if you will just hang on to the back real quick, don't log off. He'll send you back. I'm going to say a quick thank you. And
it was bar pizza, Nick. That's the only kind we eat around here. Come on.
Homemade bar pizza.
I made them.
Yeah.
I'll make some for you too, Nick, if you get your ass out
Boston
here.
accent comes out really thick when y'all say that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Bye.
Wait till we start drinking. It's only going to get worse.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Especially you.
Oh, yeah. Matt can't even understand me half the time.
Thankfully, our TikTok videos or Facebook Live self-caption.
I love it.
Those are horrible.
Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I absolutely enjoy y'all. So
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Hang on one second. So I want to give a big thank you to you guys. Y'all are what makes this channel and makes me want to go and push to get more people on here to share their experiences. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, guys. I've got another interview lined up, not this Thursday, the following Thursday. I do interviews every other Thursday. And since that's closer to Halloween, this one is going to be fun. So thank you again, every one of you. And I'm so glad to be back from my break and get to see everybody. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful evening and the rest of the